Hello everyone, and welcome to a game I've been putting off on this channel for a very long time. A game I've been talking about on this channel for almost a decade now. A game where it finally seems like the correct moment with Metroid Dread being mere weeks away. This is the game that really got me into the Metroid series, my personal favorite in the franchise, and a legendary and influential game in its own right. This is Super Metroid. I don't really know what I can say about this game that has not been said in the year 2021. Like, usually I go into these games with some sort of game plan about what I'm going to do commentary-wise. Not really the case here. I kind of thought about it, and I didn't really have anything that I profound or that I wanted to think of or say or something like that. But let's hope that I think of something, as it's time to go right here. Oh, man.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
And now for a trip down memory lane. I first battled the Metroids on planet Zebes. It was then that I foiled the plans of the space pirate leader, Mother Brain, to use the creatures to attack galactic civilization. I next fought the Metroids on their home world, SR-388. I completely eradicated them except for a larva, which after hatching followed me like a confused child. I personally delivered it to the Galactic Research Station at Ceres, so scientists could study its energy-producing qualities. The scientists' findings were astounding. They discovered that the powers of the Metroid might be harnessed for the good of civilization. Satisfied that all was well, I left the station to seek a new bounty to hunt. But I had hardly gone beyond the asteroid belt when I picked up a distress signal. Ceres Station was under attack. Capping off the first time that Samus had ever monologued in the series, something she would go on to do in Metroid Fusion and Other M. It is just a dang good intro if you ask me. Recapping the previous two games in the series, since you might not have played them, since they weren't very great, in my opinion, but none of that, this is just going to be positivity. Cannot believe that I'm playing Super Metroid. Back in the day, when I played Zero Mission and Metroid 2 back-to-back, I don't know, I kind of had the intent and purpose of not playing Super Metroid. I believe I said until I had, like, a bigger following on YouTube or something. And this was my 17-year-old kid brain, right? Like, I was gonna make it big on YouTube, maybe, like, Super Metroid would commemorate my 1 millionth subscriber or something like that. Or maybe my 100th 1,000 subscriber or something like that. Obviously, that didn't pan out. You know, reality kind of smacked me in the face, and I have more realistic expectations these days. I just gotta use the channel as a creative outlet, and I just kind of play what I want to play, and I feel like playing Super Metroid now, and it's probably good that I play this of my own accord instead of some unrealistic goal setting or something like that. But there's the Metroid, and there's Ridley! Hey, starting it off with a bang! And I thought to myself, do I want to try to quote-unquote beat Ridley here? Nah, we're not gonna do that. You can quote-unquote beat him if you get him like red all the way and you deal like enough damage to him with our little pea shooter right here. Very basic power beam, but it's not a very good speedrunning technique, now is it? Now this isn't going to be a speedrun. I'm not a speedrunner by any stretch of the imagination. This is also not going to be a sequence-breaking heavy playthrough by any stretch of the imagination. I will employ some sequence breaking when it makes sense just to get like a power-up that is right there. So I don't have to come back and get it like at a way later date, but we're gonna be playing the straight and narrow right here. And it will also be 100% because God knows I have to find some way to make this playthrough attractive. Seriously, who wants to watch a vanilla Super Metroid playthrough in 2021? I mean, my only ace in the hole is that this is the Super Metroid version on Nintendo Switch Online, so I guess it's the most recent version on Nintendo hardware or whatever. Okay, I'll just gotta sweeten the pot and do 100%. I don't think I've done 100% on any of the other 2D Metroid games that I've played, so hey, here we go. I was always kind of more obsessed with beating them in time to get the best ending and things like that. And also, back in the day, the dirty secret was I wasn't really quite good enough to 100% Zero Mission. At least I didn't dedicate enough time to what I needed to do in order to... Gotta get it down pat in order to do that. Not the case with Super Metroid. I got more respect for this game. I got bigger plans for this game. So here we go. First escape sequence in the game. Taken care of. I remember when I played this for the first time, I kind of expected more of it to take place, like, on the space station, you know? Not really sure why I had that expectation. I played this in chronological order after Zero Mission and Metroid 2, so... Don't know why my expectations were in check for that, but... Planet Zebes. The most legendary planet in the series. Good to be back. Takes me all the way back to that Zero Mission playthrough so many years ago. Makes me cringe just thinking about it. Some rights are gonna be wrong today. And do I even really need to talk about it, the sense of atmosphere? I mean, it's just a trope at this point. It's cliché. I don't need to talk about the atmosphere of Super Metroid. It's what makes the game so great. It's what makes it so memorable. Hard to believe that such an atmosphere can be captured in a 2D space with the limited hardware of the Super Nintendo, but hey, I mean, here we are. The game is legendary for a reason, and the atmosphere and the presentation is just a little bit of that. And again, I'm kind of thinking like, oh, what do I really do here? Like, what do I say? I don't really know. I don't want to go into walkthrough mode. Oh, this is how you play Super Metroid, you know. I never liked doing this as a kid because of it. I don't really know, man. We're just gonna play this. I'm gonna kind of think of it as a continuation of what I was doing with both Zero Mission and Metroid 2 and Metroid Fusion and all the other Metroid games that I've played. I mean, is this the last one? I still haven't played Samus Returns due to it being on the 3DS and just not having a way of capturing that, honestly. Although I fully expected them to kind of like re-release that at some point for the Switch and it just never happened, but aside from Hunters and Samus Returns, I think this is the last one. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. I mean, we have original Metroid, but I supplanted that with Zero Mission, so... Yeah, I mean, end of an era, man, completing the... I was gonna say trilogy. I guess it is a trilogy if you keep Metroid 2 and Zero Mission in mind, but... Kinda like completing the series in a way. And here we get the Morphing Ball. That was so strange, the Morphing Ball instead of the Morph Ball. Like, no one calls it the Morphing Ball, it's the Morph Ball, so why does it say that? And Super Metroid, just wonky translation, I guess. I'm also kind of nervous about how I'm gonna play this, you know, with the camera on. As, you know, I want to be competent at the game, and don't get me wrong, when I was practicing it, because I actually had not played it in a while, like it had been a hot minute for some reason, although I usually replay this game on a yearly basis at the very least, I had a smile across my face the entire time, like I was having just a grand old time, and I'm hoping that I can kind of keep that competency going into actually, like, playing the game and recording it, because, you know, when it comes to Metroid, I've always tried to be a little bit more competent than when I play other games. Wasn't always the case. I've definitely had some incompetent moments when it comes to Metroid, but I've always tried to keep myself to a bit higher of a standard. Kind of when it comes to these games, and the 2D ones especially. I'm on record saying I do enjoy the 2D games in the series more than the Prime series, although that doesn't mean to disparage the Prime series in whatsoever, in which any way, but I just wanted to show that energy tank right there, because, thankfully, I do not have the Morph Ball bombs, so I cannot yet embarrass myself trying to get that more early than I actually want to do it, and just making a fool of myself in the process. But, oh yeah, by the way, we got missiles. Did you realize that? And for the Morph Ball? I would try not to go into walkthrough mode right here, but, oh yeah, this entire area, by the way, is Old Criteria, I think it is? Yeah, I think it's Criteria. The place where we fought Mother Brain the first time, you know, at the end of Zero Mission. I'm going to refer to it as Zero Mission, because that's just kind of canonically what took place beforehand. And, Space Pirates! Good to see you guys again. And also just seeing them right here in the 2D space, again, just kind of reminds me that I think Other M did a pretty good job kind of like translating them to 3D at the very least. Oh, and this is where we fought Mother Brain too. Man, such great continuity, I gotta say, just seeing the remains of the brain jar, I guess, for lack of a better word. And this right here was where we had the very high stakes and intensive escape sequence at the end of Zero Mission. Or at least, you know, the end of what the original Metroid actually covered before we got to the whole Zero Mission Extra part. Kind of makes me wish that I kind of did better with Zero Mission back in the day, you know. Not from a commentary perspective, because God knows I was perfect on commentary back then. But also, you know, just from a technical standpoint as well. And this is the kind of tripping up that I was hoping would not happen whenever I played this for the camera. Again, I'm not a speedrunner by any stretch of the imagination. The extent of what I'm going to try to do right here is 100%, and we are going to get the best ending, which means you just beat the game in under 3 hours. And even at 100%, if you know what you're doing, You know, which I'm gonna say right now, I think I do. I mean, I've played this game so many times that the muscle memory should kick in, you know, soon, hopefully, maybe not, but I'm going to try to have everything nice and memorized before that ever happens anyway, so, let's go through door number 1 first. These arbitrary plot doors! Although plot doors doesn't really make sense. I mean, this game has a plot, but it's not exactly flashy or anything like that. Okay, just miss every single missile, why don't I? I'm gonna try to use missiles more heavily than I have in the past before. Because what usually happens in these 2D Metroid games is that I just, like, get the power beam upgrades, and then I just rely on the power beam the whole time. I don't really want to be doing that. We gotta be using the missiles if possible. Yeah, and Criteria's looking pretty bare bones at the moment. I like that about this game, though. The map does not reveal all the secrets that you have to uncover. A lot of people would say that the quality of this game was never matched throughout the Metroid series after this game. You know, except for Prime 1. Some people will point to Prime 1 as kind of being, you know, the 3D version of Super Metroid, and they are correct. And the way that Prime 1 was the most loyal translation of that classic formula into a 3D space. Prime 2 and Prime 3 tried something else, you know, didn't want to be completely derivative, and I think they succeeded and failed in various ways. But I think a lot of people would say that the precipice of this series has not yet been matched ever since Super Metroid and Metroid Prime, and, you know, I would have a hard time disagreeing. You know, the 2D games that came after this, I really liked them. I really liked Fusion and Samus Returns. I guess those are the only two, really. Well, Zero Mission does technically post-date this one. But all of them, you know, they never really match the feel of Super Metroid, I guess. And maybe that's just nostalgia talking, you know, it's perfectly possible. I would say that I do indeed have, you know, kind of what you could call a childhood nostalgia for this game. But, you know, I also kind of played the rest of the games in the series at the same time, so maybe not really. Like, I don't know, I just think, and I feel like popular opinion kind of backs me up on this one, this is the precipice of a genre, you know? I think a lot of people would agree with me for that. But oh hey, it's the Morph Ball Bombs, so now I can make an idiot of myself trying to Morph Ball Bomb jump. Well, we can't get out of here, what's gonna happen? The spooky or scary elements of this game. I believe this guy is, like, actually weak to the Morph Ball Bombs, which would make sense as we just got them. I'm just gonna go ahead and rely on the power beam, though. This is just gonna be kind of a battle of attrition at this point, but... Oh hey, already got you? Or just the core in general. His attacks are pretty easy to dodge, he does telegraph them pretty easily, and he does move very slowly. The only challenging part is when he backs you in a wall right here if you just stay here, but when he loses his head, that's freaking creepy, man! Like, come on, you can't scare little kids like that! Of course, I was old enough at this time to where I wasn't really scared or anything like that. I was just like, oh wow, pretty intense for a first-party Nintendo game back on the Super Nintendo. I also love that about the marketing of Metroid Dread, how it is, I don't want to say edgier per se, but it is definitely a little bit more hardcore, taking itself a little bit more seriously. Like, this isn't your dad's Nintendo game, this isn't Mario, this isn't Animal Crossing, this isn't Star Fox, F-Zero. I mean, we still don't have those games on the Switch, so I don't really know what's going on here, but I do think it's really cool. Before the day is over, we are going to have both a 2D Metroid and a 3D Metroid on a Nintendo home console in the year 2021. Like, you know, this year has been very good to me. I really cannot complain, although I always find a way to complain. That's just the nature of what I do. But in a year where I got a sequel to The World Ends With You, and also a 2D Metroid, both of them, like, on the Nintendo Switch, like, man, what a good year for gaming. Of course, I have yet to finish, you know, The World Ends With You, for various reasons that may be revealed on that playthrough, but just saying, it's going to be very fortunate that by the time everything is said and done for the Switch, we will have both a 2D and a 3D Metroid on the same console, which has never happened, by the way. That's kind of one of those factoids where it makes sense whenever you think about it, but also when you think about it, it's like, wow. Like, yeah, it makes sense, because the Metroid releases have been so few and far between, but also, wow. Like, how many years? Like, 20 years since Prime 1? Yeah, I believe 2001, right? And they just have never released a 2D Metroid on a console after that. Which I suppose isn't all that surprising, because, you know, like, the 3DS has really kind of supplemented that. No, not just the 3DS, but you all the Nintendo portable consoles, but it's just kind of a cool thing to think about. Nice little bit of trivia there. So I am going to try to fill in the map as much as possible right here. Didn't have to get that save station earlier, but you know me. My Castlevania Symphony of the Night roots coming in, my Castlevania roots in general just kicking in and being like, fill in the map. And this is kind of the wonder to me in Metroidvanias as well, kind of seeing everything there is, filling in that map. It's like, yeah, I got 100% filling it in. I'm an explorer. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, I got everything we could get for right now. I could go back to our ship and do that, but we'll have ample time to do that. Amper time, well. If you can't tell, I'm pretty excited. Just practicing this through, not only was there a smile on my face the entire time, but I was also just having difficulty prying myself away from the practice file. I just wanted to keep going on and on and on. And there's the energy tank. That's why I was blasting down here without a care in the world. And it's almost time, I can feel it. We're getting out of Criteria. We're going down to Brinstar. We're gonna kill some space pirates.